because the air is drier now, and there wasn't a cloud in the sky, and my neighborhood's fairly dark, and it was just gorgeous. It's cool, cool. Okay, so put stuff away. Let's see how much you can do. Mit out.
Oh, that's unique.
Yes. So, don't look at anything.
Okay.
All right. Name the intrinsic laryngeal muscles.
What?
Intrinsic laryngeal muscles. So intrinsic is they have an attachment. You know, they don't move the larynx as a whole. They move things relative to each other.
So your
Posterior.
TA.
The TA.
Posterior cricoarytenoid.
Yes, that's two
Your
of them.
LCA.
The lateral, yeah. Interarytenoid, yeah. Got one more? Okay, so the TA is this one. What's the one that stretches your vocal fold long ways? Crico.
Thyroid.
Thyroid. Right. Okay, so lateral cricoarytenoid. Let's do, we'll do the ones that are abductor adductors, right? Okay. So you've got the lateral cricoarytenoid is the one that rotates them this way. The interarytenoid is the one that brings the posterior part of your glottis closed. Okay, then the posterior cricoarytenoid muscle, the PCA, is the one that abducts, right? Okay, and then cricothyroid is your long way stretcher. TA is the one that shortens and bulks up. Okay. So just, you know, remember, you know, pulling on my arm is the CT, the TA is the one that bulks it up, makes it stiffer and shorter. And of course, all those muscles can work at the same time, you know, because if I go ha 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 ha, I'm changing the length at the same time that I'm abducting and adducting. So that's why staccatos are really challenging, because you have to coordinate all 5 of those muscles really simultaneously. And that's a good reason for not doing staccatos like roll out of bed and, oh, I think I'll do my staccato exercise, you know, because give your body a little time to kind of get going, you know, sing some other things before you do this. Okay. So you named the posterior cricoarytenoid muscles. So Austin, which muscles are the antagonists of the posterior cricoarytenoid muscle? Interarytenoids and we just did them with our hands. Okay, so the posterior cricoarytenoid muscle, which is the abductor, right? The only one that abducts. Okay, and you named the interarytenoid muscle, which is an antagonist to it, which is correct. What's the other one that does?
The lateral?
The lateral, yeah, right. So remember, okay, so here's my vocal folds at rest, which is, you know, when we're asleep, okay, for most of us. Okay, so then if I breathe in deep, you know, I really abduct my vocal folds, so that's my posterior cricoarytenoid muscle, really separating them wide, okay? Then the interarytenoid muscle does that. Sorry, the lateral cricoarytenoid muscle does that, brings the vocal processes together, and interarytenoid muscle that closes the back. Now, does it look that way when it does it? No. You're either abducted or together. But it's actually 2 sets of muscles that are doing this and that at the same time. Yeah. Okay? What opposes the TA muscle, the thyroarytenoid muscle?
Oh, the cricothyroid.
Wait, the cricothyroid.
She's right.
Oh.
Yeah, so you're the cricothyroid muscle. Okay, and I'm the TA. Yeah? And so that would be, so I will vocalize. Okay? Woo ah, woo ah. Okay? So when someone yodels, that's literally, you know, when you're doing yodel, I mean, that's literally you've got those muscles and you're just letting them one take over and the other one take over.
Huh.
And you also are using a closed vowel on the top and an open vowel on the bottom. You listen to people yodel, they're going yodel-ay-o-ee-o. They use an ah or an o on the bottom and an e typically on top. And so they're using the vowel and those two muscles to flip back and forth with the registers. Fun stuff. Yodeling is really interesting. It's really interesting too how yodeling got into country western music. You know where it came from? Austria. Okay? Alpine, Austria and Switzerland and so on. Well, a bunch of German folks came over to Texas. Why do we have towns like New Braunfels and Bernie, which originally was Bern, it was O with umlauts, or Green, Texas, which was again G-R-U with umlauts, and we have Wurzbach, things like that. There were a lot of German people who, in fact, until the probably around World War II, there were places in South Texas where everybody in the town spoke German, and kids learned German in school. But then things about German was not real cool during World War II, and it really kind of petered out at that time. But yeah, and so it got into the music, and so you hear it in women who sing ranchera and stuff like that, with they call it falsette, and they're flipping back and forth between chest and head. You hear it in country western music, and it all came from German. It's the craziest thing. Anyway, I digress. Okay. Someone other than Melissa, please come to the board and do the phonation continuum. Write it out. So from no sound to no sound and stun, stun, stun.
Should I do left to right or up to down?
You just left to right's probably going to be better. Okay, no sound, then what? Breathy, good. He's rolling. And then, yay! And then, normal. And then, I think he's got it.
I think so.
Yay. I got it myself.
Very good, Austin. Cool. Yes. Golf applause. Right. Okay, so no sound, breathy, flow, normal, pressed, no sound. Now, Daniela, come up and see if you can put in things about the airflow and the breath pressure.
Okay.
Like, which end would be all pressure and no flow, which end was all flow and no pressure, and kind of all in between.
Can I have help?
Okay, I'll give you a clue. So when we're singing rest,
No.
right? So that would be no flow and all pressure. I think you can do the yeah. Because that's us going,
Right.
when the doctor says to a woman about to have a baby, okay, bear down now, although she usually is kind of screaming at that point.
And then the other one was no.
The other end is the opposite of that, right?
Right.
Yes, exactly. So all the way to the end then is going to be
Yeah.
the opposite.
Sorry, I remember.
Yep.
Sorry.
No pressure. No pressure. And all. Yeah. Mr. Nix makes it funny. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Good. Okay. And so here
Yes.
is the greatest flow that we still get, complete contact. I wouldn't say, I'm careful to not say closure, but we have a complete contact. Okay, so this is that magic happy spot. Yeah, well, we should give her a hand. Right? So this is the most
So
flow
max flow,
with complete contact, at least at some instant in the cycle. Yeah. Because you get over here to breathy, you may not, you know, you might get contact in one portion, but you still got, you know, because if I'm very breathy like that, my interarytenoid muscle is probably not very active. I'm probably getting a lot of leaking in the back. Yeah. And you'll hear typically as people age, you'll hear more breathiness. You know, if you talk to people in their 70s and 80s and 90s, you might notice that their voice is a little breathier, and they might take a few more breaths when they speak. Because sometimes as people age, when we get later in the semester, we'll talk about this, their vocal folds actually atrophy some, and they get kind of bowed looking, and they don't get that complete closure. So they sound more breathy. And also people with neurological disorders, myasthenia gravis and Parkinson's and so on, you'll typically hear breathy speech. You know, in here is happy, yeah, right, you know. Sometimes in dramatic male voices and stuff, they're on the borderline of being kind of pressed, because when their vocal folds are open, there's a ton of flow, and then they're closed really firmly for quite a long time. So sometimes in your elite male singers, you'll see they're going to be over in here, but those are those people who have that just like, oh gosh, man, I need to be like in another room, you know. But yeah, we want to live in here. We want to live in here, and some elite female belters and stuff would probably be pretty close to getting into the pressed zone. But generally, the thinking is how they get away with it is the fact that yes, their vocal folds are closed very firmly and for a long time each cycle, but when their vocal folds are open, a lot of flow goes through in the open phase. And then it shuts very quickly, and that's what gives their voice the brilliance. So anyway, and then obviously we don't want to live over here. This is the person who has bad habits or like spasmodic dysphonia, where we talk very pressed like that. And then no sound. Yeah. Yay. Good, good, good. Okay. Name the laryngeal depressor muscles.
oh God. I was just.
That's not one of them.
I know. I was just
God
writing
does
stuff.
a lot of things, but yeah, but I don't know that he is the laryngeal depressor muscles.
The stylo, is that a depressor or an
No.
elevator?
No.
Neither?
Stylo is an elevator. You don't want stylo.
Okay.
It starts like
Sterno.
Sterno.
Sternohyoid, sternothyroid.
Yes. One more.
Good clue.
That was a clue.
uh,
It has hyoid at the end.
Are you a monk?
No, I was going.
Oh.
I was a Buddhist monk. Omo hyoid.
Oh.
That was a little pedagogical theater for you. Okay, so yeah, right. Sterno. Anything that starts with sterno, sternum's down here. So if it's sternohyoid or sternothyroid, and it pulls towards the point of origin, which is down in your sternum, then it's obviously a depressor. And then the other one is the omohyoid, which is the one that's actually got its attachment back there on your shoulder blades and kind kind of loops around and pulls your hyoid bone down. Okay, those are the three. Those are really important to know because if you can remember those three and you're asked a question which says, you know, which ones are elevators? Well, if it's not one of those three, then it's an elevator. And in fact, basically, just about all of them, other than those three, do tend to elevate our larynx.
Is there a biological reason for that? Is elevation more important?
Swallowing. Yeah, swallowing. Because, yeah, I mean, the larynx, as far as the larynx being a generator of sound, is very, very secondary to, you know, we can live and not phonate. It may not be very fun, but we can live and not phonate, but we have to be able to swallow to live, you know. Okay. Let's see. Okay, Melissa.
Yes.
Muscles of the palate.
Yeah, peas. Okay.
All,
There.
no, right above.
Ah, crackers. I'm gonna spell any of this.
Come on, you like to volunteer for things.
I do! That's not volunteering!
Well, I volunteered too.
Okay,
Come on.
okay.
Be a sport. Yes. Okay, good start.
Okay,
I would even allow you to go, you know, the little ditto mark, you know, and then put the next one that has an ending. Yes. Watch her go, y'all. Not quite. E-U-S.
Oh, goodness. Okay.
Yeah.
So those are the depressors.
Yes, good.
Now just-
Those lower your palate. She's already.
It's
I
the
was gonna have
elevators.
somebody else
I
do that,
never.
but that's
I know
okay.
there's like a levitor or something or other.
Yes, yeah. Make that an A. Yes. So
That's not
if you
what-
just think levitate,
Pilates?
palatini, or yeah. Is that my phone?
Is that new?
I actually joined the 21st century, y'all.
Oh,
Yay.
wow.
Instead of my old flip phone, yes, I think it just
Okay, so
randomly
there's
turned on.
that.
It matches my shoes though.
Ah,
Okay, levitor
geez.
palatini, so that's,
And now I don't remember the rest of the elevators.
there's one more. Dangles down in the back of your.
Oh, okay.
Uh-huh.
Is it
No,
velar
no.
or uvular?
Yeah.
Okay. How do you spell uvular?
Uh-huh. Yeah, uvular muscle, yeah, I mean, that's pretty much, or, yeah, just uvular muscle is good. I don't know what else to call it. It's got some fancy schmancy name, but I think that's fancy schmancy enough. Right, those elevated. And then there's one more that,
Tightens it.
what's another, if my arm does that, did I,
Contracts it?
no.
Or does it flex?
We say to people, don't be so,
Tense, a tensor, so, shoot, what is the tensor?
that's it. It's just called the tensor palatini.
Oh,
Yeah.
sweet.
Pala. Now, you all may take comfort in the fact that, as best of my recollection, I do not ask you to write them out, but recognize what they do.
That's
Okay.
good, cause I get my vowels all mixed up.
Yeah. Okay, those are the five. So the levator palatini and the uvular muscle are the ones that elevate your palate. Okay, to say words like baby bottle. And then the palatoglossus and the palatopharyngeus. Palatoglossus is that first set of little arches in the back of your mouth. The palatopharyngeus is the back set of arches. Okay, so palatoglossus goes down into your tongue, and this one goes down into the pharynx. And then the tensor palatini is the one that kind of flattens it and tenses it, okay? Hence the name. So this is really handy. And if you just think, well, what's that little dangly thing? Oh, uvula. And then tensor looks like what it does. Then the two that start with palato are the lower words. Okay. We perceive frequency as what, Austin? We perceive frequency as what, Catherine? How do we?
Pitch.
Yes, we perceive frequency as pitch. Daniela, we perceive amplitude as what? No. Because amplitude is how big does the wave, you know.
Oh, yeah.
So, what's the difference between me talking like this and me talking like that?
Yeah. Oh,
Volume, yeah. So we perceive amplitude as volume or loudness, and we perceive differences in the spectrum as timbre or color, right? So a darker voice would probably have more strength in lower harmonics and less, relatively speaking, up in the high, and a bright voice would probably have more strength up in the high. And ideally in classical music we want that chiaroscuro, we want some low and we want some bright as well. You know, we kind of have that, it's rich and yet it's ringing. That's what we ideally go after. What is abduction, Danielle? Abduction.
Them coming together. Oh, wait. Oh, D.
Like an alien.
Alien abduction. Yeah, abduction. Yes, they
Yes.
come apart. I knew that.
I just abducted her water bottle.
Yes.
All right. So if you remember it that way, okay, and then add, putting one and one together to make two. Adduction and abduction. Abduction. Okay, good. Austin, what's the one muscle that abducts your vocal folds? It's the muscle of the day for you. The first one you mentioned today when I was talking about laryngeal muscles.
Posterior.
Yes. The posterior cricoarytenoid muscle, or PCA, right, posterior cricoarytenoid. So it's in the back, it originates down on the cricoid cartilage, and it inserts on the arytenoid cartilage, which is a great segue to naming some parts. Big Larry, what's this?
Hyoid bone. Wait, is that adduction or
Ab.
Ad.
Ab. It's the only muscle that abducts. Okay. Epiglottis.
Oh, yeah. Oh, sorry, I didn't know you were asking. I just did.
Thyroid. Cartilage.
Well, that's the muscle, but this is the cricoid cartilage. Yeah. Okay. And then this is the trachea. Good. And then on the inside, what are these dewellies? Not that you would ever see them this way unless somebody was incredibly good at dissecting. And then this inside is the the true vocal folds there, yeah. Okay, so just know your laryngeal cartilages, right? Cricoid, thyroid, arytenoids, epiglottis, those are the cartilages, and then one bone, the hyoid bone, which is a free-floating bone like your kneecap.
Do you want us to know anything specific about the different cornu?
No. I mean, yes, these are the superior cornu, and this is the inferior cornu of the thyroid cartilage. And the epiglottis is that yellow stuff, and this is the hyaline, but I don't ask you that all the bet you guys will make 10 points higher on the test than other people who did not come.
I'd like to make a very high.
Well, we're gonna work on that. Okay, so let's have one person put the first performance of the front vowels, one person do the first performance of the back vowels, and one person do the first performance of the mixed
Is
vowels.
this that chart? I don't remember this. What is this?
Okay, I'll give you
the
a-
frequencies of them?
I will give you a start.
The notes. Ah, yes.
I don't know this.
Let's work together, guys.
But I just can see it in my head.
Okay,
Okay, so
I'll,
we should.
I'll
say
even
this.
give you another hint.
Ah, hex, this still. Hex.
Okay, so if we're going from,
I know it's gonna be all sorts of bright vowels on that side, so there's
Yeah.
gotta be whatever comes after E.
well, let's name the front
Right
vowels. Let's do that. What are the front vowels?
So
E.
E,
Well, we could throw it.
or
A.
A, E,
One more.
A,
Okay, what are the back vowels?
Ah, open O, close O, circumflex thingy, the little caret.
Well, is kind of a neutral.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's a neutral vowel. I mean, those two are
Okay.
stressed and unstressed,
Would you
okay?
put Siamese OE over there also?
Nope, because that's a mixed vowel.
Oh, got it, okay. Oh, like book.
Book, yes, and booty. Okay, and then the mixed vowels are,
Siamese OE.
okay,
There's the, German one that's mixed with I. Oh, yeah, there's that.
that's O plus A, yeah. This is all plus And then
There's one that's E plus U, which is, yeah, that one, and then
Y.
the other one, which is capital
capital Y, which is
I and
and
Ah.
And this is E plus U, yeah? So you've got the rounding of this and the tongue of that, the rounding of this and the tongue of that, okay? So now, see if we can put a few things into place. So this is from most closed to most open. This is from most open to most closed. This is open to closed.
So I think it goes right up.
It goes
in
right
that
up,
order, in order of
right up.
brightness, yeah. Right up.
Well, how about this? Let's put an A about there, and an E around there, and add depending on the person. Certainly there. And it is probably gonna be somewhere in the crack here. Between, I mean, this is an average, your results may vary.
So this chart is important for the test?
This is important for the test.
Okay. I did not look at this at all. I was just like, okay, helpful, keep that for later.
Yeah, and so is probably somewheres in there. And big Y is gonna be in between. O slash is there, OE is there, and is probably about there. That's really important information.
Okay.
It's important to know, okay, what's a front vowel, what's a back vowel, what's a mixed vowel, you know, which ones are in that series. And then, if you can remember B flat and E flat, and if you'll notice, E and U, and the mixed vowel that is the combination of them, are all right around the same frequency. Just like I and and the big Y, and A and O share about the same first formant, and obviously the combination of the two sits in the same. And A and OE are right around the same. And then your soprano high note vowels, you know, up there. So yeah, if you can remember, E is around F, A is around B flat, E is around E flat. Again, this is an approximation, and then their partners, you got a lot of it done. I mean, is this exact for everyone? You know, it might wiggle down a little bit for a low voice, it might wiggle up for a high voice, but
Is the parrot on an F or is it on a G?
F-ish to G-ish, it just gets,
Okay.
somewhere right around there, yep.
So, like, points won't be taken off for that one's specificity?
If you've got it on F or G, I'll give you the points. But this is real important stuff. Because then if you have this is the first formants. First formants are especially important for women in terms of modification, you know. It's pretty important for guys too, but it's especially important for women. All right. What are the rules for modifying? So like, think about the options we have. We can round our lips. So what's that going to do to all our formant frequencies? Right, because you made the tube longer. Right, think of the bottle, you know, that had the real skinny neck. By the way, if you want to take a picture of this with your phones, please feel free. Go for it, you know.
I just drew the whole thing.
Oh, well, yeah, that's good because then now you have the kinesthetic writing it out, you know. Yeah, I mean, my gosh, how many times have I written this out? You know, it's just in there because the writing it out and the visual.
And is it always gonna be the ahs and father in there?
Yeah, I
And
mean,
not
the brine ah, you know, is gonna be probably a little higher.
Mhm.
So the brine ah and at are probably a little bit higher than that for a lot of people. You know, probably as high as A, and at is probably up close to between 700 and 800 something hertz.
Mhm.
Yeah. Because I mean, when you hear sopranos and mezzos singing high notes, you're gonna probably hear some variation of those two vowels. You get up way whistly, and it's hard to really tell vowel at all, because I've done a little bit of recording of a couple people who had incredible whistle. We used to have Melissa Della Torre. She could sing the top F on the piano. Yeah.
I can't even flip into whistle.
It was just absolutely freaking crazy to hear it. And I recorded her, and I took the recording to Ingo Tietze. I was out in Denver, and I played it for him. He was like, "That's really impressive," you know. And we started, and I had some other measurements and stuff on her while she was doing it. He was like, "Wow, she's like catching second formant with her fundamental and her third formant with her, you know, her second harmonic." It was like, yeah. Anyway. Okay, so if we round our lips, we lower all the formants because you made the tube longer, right? So if we spread our lips, then
Raise it.
you're going to raise all those formant frequencies because you made it shorter and you made the opening big and wide. So the rounding of lips, which is a closing of your mouth too, you know, and spreading of lips, that's one way we can either lower or raise a formant. So when you ladies or tenors too are singing really high, you know, the high note phase, you know, like somebody just poked you in the back and you go, all right. So if I lower my larynx then, like when you yawn, when you lower your larynx, it's okay. It's lunchtime. We're all kind of snoozy. Okay, so if we lower our larynx, right, what does that do to formant frequencies? Lower them. It lowers them because we made the tube longer. Okay? You know, if you're thinking about the distance between your vocal folds and the opening to the outside world, if you lengthen the tube by rounding your lips, lowering your larynx, and men typically do both when they get up in their passaggio, you'll see a lot of rounding and the lowering of the larynx. It lowers their formant frequencies. So then if I raise my larynx, you know, the necktie tenor thing, then it's going to raise. And you know, my voice gets brighter when I do that, while my voice is darker when I lower my larynx. Okay, now what about my tongue? So if my tongue comes forward, what is that going to do?
It's going to raise it.
Raise something and lower something. So let's think about it. If my tongue comes forward, like on an E,
It raises the first formant and lowers
Yes.
the second?
flip it around.
Oh, what?
Because if my tongue comes forward, the space behind the hump of my tongue is bigger, right?
Yes.
And it's the space behind the hump of your tongue that has the biggest impact on
The first
form.
Okay.
Yeah. So if the space behind the hump of my tongue is big, I've got a low first formant. So if my tongue comes forward, this is forward, this is back, then the second formant, the first formant is going to go down. I'll put it like that. And the second formant is going to go up. While if my tongue goes back, the hump of my tongue is more back, like in an oo or an ah, the opposite's going to happen, right?
So your first formant will
Well,
go.
for ah especially, right? The
First
first
formant
formant's going to go up, and the second formant is going to go down, so that they get closer together. So the net result of my tongue going forward is the formants get farther apart from each other. The net result of my tongue being more towards, the hump of my tongue being further back in my mouth is the formants get close together. And so, like when I was going, ah, ee, ah, ee, ah, and you could see it swinging back and forth. So those are our options. We can round our lips, we can spread our lips, which raises or which rounding lowers, spreading raises. We can raise and lower our larynx. Raising raises the formants, lowering lowers the formants. That's pretty straightforward, up and down. And then your tongue coming forward makes the first and second formants spread apart from each other. Your tongue going more to the back brings them together. So, if we remember, if I whisper, this is the second formant, this is the first formant. So if I go E, A, Ah, O, Oo, that's typically what we get. Take a nice deep breath. Is every single bit of this on a test? No. But hopefully this will get you guys ready. Okay, Austin, take a shot at writing the harmonic series of the following note. Oh, I'll put it here. Oh, let's do F down here. All right, so that's our first harmonic. The fundamental is the first harmonic. So if you need to do 8, start with that one. That's number 1. And you can just go straight up, since the board is kind of covered with a lot of stuff. Help me to remember at the end of class, I'll bring the camera up here and pan across so that it gets everything on the board onto the video. He's doing pretty good so far. A good thing to remember about the harmonic series is up through the 8th harmonic. Good man. It all sounds like a nice chord. It doesn't start to sound too dissonant. And in fact, for those of you in upper level theory, and you've learned about Schenker and Schenkerian analysis, the harmonic series is really pretty much what all of Schenker's stuff is based on. So yeah, if I play all of those notes, it sounds like a nice F major minor 7th chord. good, Austin. Good deal. What determines how much I need to open my mouth when I sing?
A lot.
Many things. Okay. Could you be more specific than that?
Who you are as a human being.
Who you are and your individual
And how you are
anatomy.
shaped. It has to do with how high the note is, how
Okay.
long the note's gonna be, how
Yeah.
loud you want the note to be,
Yep.
what the note did I say what the note actually is yet?
Yeah.
Okay, the vowel that you're
Vowel.
singing.
Yeah. Somebody else says,
Did you say louder?
she didn't. How loud you're singing, yeah.
The type of song maybe?
That certainly could. I mean, like, operatic stuff we typically are gonna be a little more open for oftentimes. Okay, how about how we,
Oh, how you approach it,
and then how you,
come out of it.
yeah. So, which, and the duration, which you mentioned, is certainly in there. The longer we stay on things, typically the more open we are. So, if you're singing some flitty little staccato thing, you probably don't need to be quite so open. If you're singing a big, crazy florid run, I mean, like you were doing all those runs the other day, you're not as open when you're singing as you would be on right? Because you don't want your voice to get heavy, and if you open your mouth more, your voice tends to fill out a little bit more, and you don't want that when you sing a run. So, absolutely. Groovy. What's the difference between a harmonic and a formant? Someone other than you. Sorry.
Formants are determined by resonance.
Which is a function of?
Vocal tract.
Yes. And harmonics are generated by the? What makes the sound? What generates the sound in our? Yes, ma'am. So harmonics are generated here at your vocal fold level. Formants are determined by how we're shaped. Because I can sing the same note, different formants, we heard different vowels, but I was still singing the same note the whole time. So that's proof positive that one's here and the other is here. Groovy. What is the fundamental frequency? Danielle. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So the written note, if I say sing middle C, that written note is the fundamental. Now, there's all sorts of harmonics above that give it quality, and the strength of each one of those harmonics is going to determine, did he sing it bright, did he sing it dark, did he sing an ah, did he sing the E. But all those harmonics are going to still be there, but the first one, which is what we write as the written note, is the fundamental, or that first harmonic. Good. Okay. Melissa, what is a formant?
It is a shape of the vocal tract.
Or a resonance of the vocal tract, yeah. Say resonance, because the shape, unless there's sound going through, is just a shape. But if you've got sound coming through, then you're filtering the sound in a certain way, and so it's a resonance. We were getting pretty close to this when we were talking about all the ways we can change our shape and stuff like that. So what are the different ways we can adjust our vocal tract? We've already talked about lip rounding and lip spreading, that's one. And our tongue moving forward and back, and our larynx going up and down. There are two other things. What else can we control?
Can't you also control the width of? Because some people, you were talking about how you can sort of close it for the singer's formant.
More simple than that. Let's be more.
Nasality.
Which is a function of why? Why do we have nasality? Because our palate does what? goes down, so we can make our palate go up and down.
And then
Right, we can make our palate go up and down, so that's another thing we have control over. And there's one more, your jaw. Right, so you can open and close your mouth, right, and we can do that on a whole range of things. We can slightly lower our palate or really lower our palate, right? So we've got some, although some people better than others have control over that.
So lips, larynx, palate, jaw, tongue?
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Those are the things we have quasi-independent control over, you know, and we have to learn how to be as independent as possible with those things. Okay, so yeah, we can spread our lips or round our lips or everything in between. We can open our mouth, close our mouth, our palate can go up and down, our larynx can go up and down, and our tongue can go forward and back. In fact, it can do a lot of things. That is pretty much all I have, because if you know the things we've gone over, any longer answers at the end will pretty much be there. I think the main thing to think about is, well, you know, things like how might I use this, and you know, why does this seem to be the best vowel for my voice? Knowing what I know about the anatomy and stuff, why do I like this vowel versus another one? Be able to say things like that. Okay, but that's it.
Do you know which muscles in the tongue make me able to do this, but not touch my nose?
Oh, that you can go down, but not.
Yeah, I can touch the bottom of my chin, but I can't touch my
Well,
nose.
it has to do with the frenulum, the little, you know, if you tip your tongue back, you know, the little thing, that little string there,
Yeah.
okay, that's preventing you from going that way. Because you can go, because it'll allow you to go that direction, but it
Yeah.
restricts the amount that you can go that direction.
Yeah. I always wondered.
You know that
my voice
famous
lesson once
scene-
in undergrad, like stuck my tongue out that far, and my teacher was like, "Good God, what is? Where did that come from?"
Yes, and please put that back. You know that scene in the first episode 1 of the Star Wars where Qui-Gon and the young Obi-Wan are in Anakin's house with his mother, and Jar Jar is there, and he's got his tongue, he's going, and he's doing, you know, getting fruit, and then, don't do that again. I love that scene. Okay, so I'll put the video up as quick as I can, and I'm going to put it right here and kind of pan the board one more time. Okay? So hopefully I've either reassured you or scared you to death. But there are multiple choice, and there are short answers, and there is no matching. There is, here's the score, put the vowels on it. There is, write out the harmonics. I mean, that's there, because you need this stuff. You need it.
Is there a listening portion?
There is no listening portion.
Okay. Thank
Nope.
goodness.
There is no listening portion. Next semester there might be,
Oh, no.
but name that vowel. No.
All of them.
All right. Well, tell your compadres they missed a darn good review.
Or do they, if it's going to be online?
Well,
They didn't get a chance to answer questions.
if
You're lost, yeah.
there's a review and the pedagogy class doesn't come, did it make a sound? No. You guys came. You guys came.
You're required.
Well, there is that. Okay, y'all, go and be smart.
Try.